It started with a joke. One awkward laugh. One sentence that would echo through the Sister Wives universe. Behind that moment, Meri's sharp confidence and Robyn's quiet tears lies a story far bigger than anyone imagined. A story of broken sisterhood, misunderstood love, and the haunting cost of being the favorite wife. Tonight we uncover the truth. How one woman's strength to move on collided with another's need to be understood. And by the end of this hour, you'll never see the Brown family the same way again.
She's really sad. She's really heartbroken.
Part 1.
Tomorrow.
To understand that speed dating moment, we need to rewind. Back to where Meri Brown's story began, in a family built on faith, loyalty, and sacrifice. Meri was Kody's first wife, the foundation of what would become TLC's most controversial family. For over 3 decades, she stood beside him through public scrutiny, emotional distance, and a love that grew colder with each new wife. Viewers saw the quiet heartbreak, the subtle glances, the loneliness behind her steady smile. She stayed when others might have left until the silence became too loud. And then it happened. The emotional separation. Kody said, "I don't consider myself married to Meri anymore." Millions gasped, but Meri didn't flinch. That moment didn't break her, it birthed her. But could she ever truly move on in a world that still saw her as a sister wife? In 2023, the Meri Brown that fans knew was gone. In her place, a woman rebuilding. From running her bed breakfast to launching solo travel vlogs, Meri became her own story. She started traveling solo, posting powerful quotes, wearing brighter colors, and smiling in ways that felt real. Fans noticed the transformation. Meri's glow-up is everything. She's finally free. But then came the dating event. Salt Lake City, late summer. A cozy bar lit by hanging lights. A crowd of singles, nervous laughter, and cameras rolling quietly in the back. Meri walked in confident, radiant, ready to test the waters of love again. But no one expected what one man would say next. The date started light introductions, smiles, casual banter. Until one man leaned in and said, "So, Meri, are you open to multiple husbands?" The laughter around the table froze. Meri tilted her head, smiled politely, and replied, "I don't like dumb jokes." Just 6 words, but they carried decades of buried emotion. A lifetime of being misunderstood, mocked, and minimized under the label of polygamist wife. She didn't just shut down a joke. She shut down a culture that once defined her. But that wasn't the end. That moment would echo far beyond the event and ignite something unexpected. Within hours, clips of the event surfaced on social media. TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, all flooded with the same headline. Meri Brown shuts down polygamy joke like a boss. Women across America commented, "That's what self-respect looks like." Meri finally stood up for herself. Polygamy jokes aren't funny when you've lived the pain. But not everyone applauded. Some critics claimed she was too defensive, while others accused TLC of scripting it. Behind the noise, Meri stayed silent, just a single Instagram post. Peace feels better than attention. But there was still one question. Was Meri's dating journey about finding love or proving something deeper? Weeks later, the truth emerged. The event wasn't about finding someone else. It was about finding herself. In a podcast appearance, she admitted, "I wasn't there looking for a man. I was there to remind myself that I still deserve to show up." That was the twist no one saw coming. The speed dating joke wasn't a setback, it was her awakening. And that's the moment fans realized. Meri Brown's love story isn't about romance, it's about rebirth. But how did that night truly change her, and what does her future look like now? As the episode aired, fans cried, cheered, debated, and reflected on their own journeys. Because Meri's story isn't just hers. It's every woman who's ever laughed off pain and finally said, "Enough." She's not the woman who stayed. She's the woman who walked away and found herself waiting. In a world that once defined her by marriage, Meri Brown defined herself by strength. And maybe that's the real love story. Drop A in the comments if you think Meri deserves her happily ever after. Because this story isn't over and neither is hers. Part 2. To understand Robyn's breaking point, we need to return to where her story began the moment she entered the Brown family. In 2010, Robyn joined the plural marriage, becoming Kody's fourth wife. She was younger, articulate, and instantly seemed to capture Kody's heart, a connection that fans noticed, and the other wives felt. The dynamic shifted overnight. Christine felt replaced. Meri felt abandoned. Janelle pulled back quietly. And Kody's older children, they saw it too. Behind every warm smile, there was tension in visible lines dividing loyalty and love. To the kids, Robyn wasn't a new mom figure. She was the beginning of the end. But what if those early smiles hid guilt, not triumph? As the years passed, the fractures deepened. Holidays became awkward. Birthdays became battlegrounds. And what started as quiet resentment grew into full-blown estrangement. When COVID hit, the Brown family imploded. Kody's strict quarantine rules drove an invisible wedge through their lives. And for many fans, Robyn became the face of that control. The older children, Janelle's sons, Christine's daughters, spoke out. They accused their father of favoritism. They accused Robyn of manipulation. But for Robyn, it wasn't manipulation, it was misunderstanding. She wasn't trying to replace anyone. She was trying to survive the chaos of being blamed for everything. In a rare moment, Robyn once whispered on camera, "I never wanted to be the reason they hated him." But that whisper would become a storm. For years, she stayed quiet, letting rumors and fan theories tear her apart online. Until season 19. In one emotional confessional, Robyn's voice broke, and so did the wall she'd built. She admitted she missed the kids, that she felt like an outsider in her own family. And for the first time, she said what no one expected. "I wish they could see my heart." Tears fell as she described wanting relationships with Janelle's sons, Christine's daughters, and being rejected again and again. She wasn't angry. She was heartbroken. She confessed she once wrote letters to the older kids' letters she never sent. But when those words finally reached them, the response wasn't what she hoped. In a shocking twist, a family insider revealed that Robyn did reach out privately months before the season 19 reunion. She reportedly sent a heartfelt message asking to rebuild bridges and start over as family. But the reply she got was ice cold. One child allegedly said, "We've moved on. You can't rewrite the past." That moment crushed her, not because of rejection, but because she finally understood. Forgiveness was no longer in her control. And when she broke down on camera, saying, "I thought they hated me. Now I think they just don't need me," the internet paused. Was this manipulation or the raw truth we'd never allowed her to share? Within hours of the episode airing, the fandom exploded. TikTok, Reddit, and YouTube lit up. "I didn't expect to cry for Robyn. Maybe she was never the villain. Is this the redemption arc we didn't see coming?" For every critic calling her fakest tears, there were others saying they finally saw her humanity. Viewers who once called her homewrecker began calling her heartbroken. And for Robyn, who spent over a decade as the most hated woman on TLC, it was the first taste of empathy she'd received in years. The episode became one of the most discussed in Sister Wives history. Not because of scandal, but because of truth. But behind every emotional confession, there's still one question. Can the Brown family ever heal, or is it too late? As the credits rolled, fans saw a quiet moment, Robyn sitting outside, tears falling, whispering, "I just wanted them to know I care." For years, Robyn Brown was painted as the villain of plural love. But maybe she was just another victim of it. In a family shattered by jealousy, religion, and lost communication, Robyn's story stands as a reminder that silence doesn't always mean guilt. Sometimes it means grief. Whether she'll ever reconcile with Kody's older children remains uncertain. But one thing is clear this time. Her tears weren't for cameras. They were for closure. The woman the world judged may not need their forgiveness, just her own peace. If you've ever been misunderstood or tried to rebuild a broken bond, drop a love below. Because forgiveness isn't weakness, it's freedom. And Robyn Brown's story is far from over. Let's deep dive. In full details, Part 3. To understand what happened in 2025, we have to rewind the clock. Back to when love was supposed to be eternal, and 4 women believed in the same dream. When Meri married Kody in 1990, she became the foundation of a bold, controversial, faith-plural marriage. But as each new wife joined, that foundation cracked. By the time Robyn entered in 2010, the dynamic had shifted. She wasn't just the youngest wife, she was the emotional favorite. Kody himself once admitted, "Robyn and I have a different kind of connection." That connection created invisible battle lines. Christine resented the change. Janelle distanced herself. And Meri, the original wife, began to disappear in her own home. But no one could predict how that emotional imbalance would explode years later when one woman walked away and another tried to hold everything together. After decades of emotional distance, Meri finally did what viewers had begged her to do. For years, she took back her power. In late 2024, Meri attended a speed dating event in Salt Lake City. Cameras weren't rolling for TLC. This was her private moment. And yet, when one suitor cracked a joke about polygamy, she didn't laugh. She simply said, "I don't like dumb jokes." 6 words that symbolize decades of silence breaking. Fans erupted. TikTok flooded with clips. Reddit threads celebrated her as the comeback queen. One user wrote, "That wasn't just shade that was healing in motion." But while Meri was moving forward, another sister wife was quietly falling apart. Because as Meri laughed again, Robyn cried, and not for herself, but for the family she thought she could still fix. When Christine left Kody in 2021, it wasn't just the end of a marriage, it was the beginning of a family unraveling. Janelle followed soon after. Meri withdrew completely. And suddenly, Robyn was the last wife standing. For years she'd been labeled the villain. But when the spotlight turned solely on her, the weight of that role broke her down. In a 2024 TLC confessional, Robyn admitted, "I feel like I'm mourning a death that won't end." Her grief wasn't just about losing Kody's other wives, it was about losing their children. The older Brown kids particularly, Janelle's sons and Christine's daughters, distanced themselves, saying Robyn and Kody's control tore the family apart. "We lost our dad to Robyn," anonymous fan reenacted Reddit quote. But in her mind, she wasn't controlling, she was misunderstood. She once said, "I wish they could see my heart." The same heart that still kept Christmas stockings for kids who no longer came home. And soon, that heartbreak would take center stage in a revelation no one expected. As Meri redefined independence, Robyn redefined loneliness. 2 women once united by faith, now walking opposite paths. While fans praised Meri for moving on, Robyn admitted she felt abandoned. She told producers, "I wanted us to stay family. Even without Kody as a husband, we could have been sisters." But Meri had made peace with her past. Her new mantra? Peace feels better than attention. Online, viewers noticed the irony. One woman mocked for leaving was healing. The other woman blamed for staying was breaking. And somewhere between empowerment and heartbreak, sister wives became a mirror for millions of women asking themselves, when do you stay loyal? And when do you finally walk away? But just when it seemed the story was over, a hidden detail surfaced, something that redefined both women forever. In 2025, a family insider revealed something fans never saw coming. Months before the most recent season aired, Robyn had written letters, emotional handwritten messages to Kody's older children. In those letters, she apologized. She wrote, "I never wanted to replace your mothers. I only wanted to love you." Some kids never responded. Others sent short, polite replies, but no reconciliation. The wounds were still too deep. Meanwhile, Meri publicly shared her own form of closure, a social post saying, "I choose to laugh again, not because life is easy, but because I survived." The 2 women once at emotional war had reached the same destination through opposite roads. One found healing through silence, the other through confession. But that's when fans began asking, what if the real villain was never either of them? By 2025, the Brown family no longer existed as it once did. The cul-de-sac was empty. The children grown. The sisterhood gone. But in their separate journeys, Meri and Robyn became something new, reflections of what millions of women endure, the battle between loyalty and self-worth. Meri Brown, once silenced, now speaks freely about self-love and new beginnings. Robyn Brown, once accused, now stands as a mother mourning the loss of a family she tried to hold together. Their stories are no longer about Kody. They're about every woman who's ever been misunderstood, underestimated, or misjudged for choosing peace over pain. As Meri said, "I don't like dumb jokes." As Robyn said, "I wish they could see my heart." 2 sentences, 2 lives. One truth: they were both just trying to be heard. And maybe, after all these years, we finally did. Before the world saw heartbreak, there was laughter. Before Meri's silence and Robyn's tears, there was a dream that millions tuned in to believe. In 2012, the Brown family was America's experiment in love, a plural marriage unfolding in real time. But beneath the smiles were subtle signs of strain we missed back then. Christine's forced smile, Janelle's quiet distance, Meri's eyes searching for Kody in a crowd. Rewatching those episodes today feels different. We don't see a faith experiment. We see 4 women trying to hold on to pieces of themselves. When the episode aired, the internet lit up like wildfire. Reddit threads hit 10,000 comments overnight. On Facebook, fans posted side-by-side clips, calling it the moment Meri won back her story. But not everyone cheered. Some asked if Robyn's tears were real, or just TLC editing magic. A YouTube comment read, "If this is acting, give Robyn an Emmy." Another replied, "No, this is what guilt looks like when the camera never turns off." Even mainstream outlets joined in. People magazine called it Sister Wives' most emotionally honest season yet. Variety asked, is the show evolving into a study of female resilience? For the first time, viewers weren't just watching reality TV, they were watching themselves. Long before the Brown family, polygamy was rooted in a faith that promised eternal unity. But for modern women like Meri and Robyn, that promise often felt like a prison. Legal battles and social stigma forced the Browns to move from Utah to Nevada to Arizona. Each move symbolized both their faith and their fear. Today, as Meri stands independent and Robyn clings to what's left, their journey mirrors every woman who's ever had to choose between belief and belonging. Since filming ended, Meri has expanded her B&B business and hinted at a memoir in the works. Robyn remains largely off-camera, her social media silent, her focus on raising the younger kids. Sources close to the family say Kody has retreated from the spotlight, still filming occasionally, but rarely seen in public. The once tight-knit compound in Flagstaff now stands quiet. Maybe that's the final lesson of the Brown story, that sometimes the real drama is what happens after the cameras turn off. Next time, we'll explore where the Browns go from here. New relationships, new homes, and the question that never dies. Can love ever be shared equally? If you've ever had to choose between holding on and letting go, this story was for you. Hit subscribe for more deep dives into the untold lives behind sister wives, because their stories are still unfolding. Drop a love react in the comments if you believe healing is strength, not surrender.